All right, everybody, calm down. Calm down. We're about to talk about everybody's favorite person in the entire world. John Schneider gets his 200th win. Can I get some claps from the audience? Only crickets? Yeah, figured so. Okay.
You are Locked On Blue Jays, your daily Toronto Blue Jays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jays. Thank you for making Locked On Blue Jays your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use code all lowercase LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. I'm Braden Iwasco. He's Carter First. You can find us on Twitter at Braden5Iwasco, at Carter First 2, as well on Instagram and TikTok at Locked On Blue Jays. We've noticed a lot of you guys aren't subscribed. It really helps us out if you hit that button. It keeps us at the top of your guys' page, so you get the most up-to-date Blue Jays information as well. There's also a little bell icon you guys can hit. It'll give you notifications if we go live, if we post a short, if there's a video that gets posted, whatever it is, it'll let you know. Big episode today. A lot to talk about. We got the series preview. I will be down in Minnesota to watch the Blue Jays and the Twins. So we got the series preview. We'll do that. If you see me at the game or whatever, come over, say hi, talk some Blue Jays with me. I always love doing it. I'll maybe try to make some TikToks or something from there so you guys can get the feel of what a Blue Jays game in Minnesota feels like, I guess. It'll be fun. I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to order some food, have a couple beers. It'll be a great weekend. I'm really excited. I'm there for the Friday and the Saturday. So if you're there on the Sunday, you will miss me. I got to be back for work on the Sunday. We got a Bo Bichette update to get to. Carter's got some information on that. Plus, let's just start it off here, I guess. John Schneider hits a milestone. His 200th career win as the manager of the Toronto Blue Jays. And 200th win overall, because this is the only team that he's managed, and it shows. Carter, how do you feel about John Schneider and his 200th win? Let's not go too crazy yet. Just your overall baseline thoughts. I got to give him my hat tip. How do you feel?
Yeah, congrats to John Schneider, my manager, not by my own pick necessarily, but congrats to him. Definitely not going to fault him too much for 200 wins. I mean, he has a winning record. No, I'll give him that 200 and 170. So 30 games above 500. I guess that's usually the bench point for MLB. I'm not sure if it is for managers as well, but I guess he's not Charlie Montoyo. Can never go up to those standards and compete with that guy, because that guy is a living legend, probably the best manager in Toronto Blue Jays history. But going into John Schneider for this season, when you're looking at John Schneider, you can't really fault him for too much. You look at the bullpen he was handed. You look at how the offense was producing at times in this year. Again, the only thing you can really fault him for in the season is the George Springer thing with how bad he was hitting. You got to move that guy sooner. Not sure what he was thinking there. That was painful for a while. But when you look at the bullpen, you look at how this team was performing. Like, you could have put anyone anywhere and it wouldn't have mattered. You couldn't have had Jesus Christ probably in this lineup and it wouldn't have saved the Toronto Blue Jays. You could have had He-Man, same thing, wouldn't have mattered. So you need more players than one to fix this Toronto Blue Jays team. Obviously, we have noticed that. So John Schneider with this season, you can't blame him for too much because it doesn't matter if anyone was in there. It would not have mattered. It's kind of like the Carolina Panthers last season. It doesn't matter who's at the quarterback helm. Wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah. And that's part of it, right? Is when I look back over his tenure with the Blue Jays, I mean, in 2022, I just want to go over sort of his stats sort of as a manager through the 3 seasons that he has been. So 2022, he comes in, takes over for Charlie Montoyo, ends up going 46-28 for a win-loss percentage of 622. Then in 2023, obviously has a decent season, winning 89 games, the only losing 73. And then there's this year, 65-69, or I guess it would be 65-70 now, I believe.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah.
That
so
is right. 5 games below 500 once again.
So, again, I like you said, I don't blame John Schneider for everything. I don't think anybody would have done well this year with this team, but in the same respect, I gotta go at him a little bit on this. Is some of the decisions he did have to make weren't the right decisions. So when you pile on garbage with more garbage, what do you end up getting? More garbage. So just a bigger pile of garbage. So that's what it turns out to be for John Schneider. He's made some very, very dumb mistakes. I think he has learned, but every time you think he's learned something, he does something else, and you're like, what is this guy thinking? Like, I feel like me or you could have been out there and maybe we wouldn't have changed a whole lot, but we maybe would have made a better decision. So it is a little bit frustrating. I do respect him for building the relationship he has with some of these players. I know we always talk about the relationship he has with Vlad and some of the other guys. Obviously, it's not really mattering with the whole Bo Bichette piece, but for Vladimir Guerrero Jr., obviously he has done something right. Vlad is going nuts. He feels comfortable in the locker room. He obviously likes John Schneider, so there's not much I can say with his player impact. I think on the player impact side, he is doing a pretty good job. It's just more the managerial, day-to-day, in-game situations that I really question about John Schneider.
And again, when you look at Vladdy's success, I can't say that's John Schneider's doing. Like, you can't be like, oh, 100% John Schneider's the guy that figured Vladdy out. Not exactly sure what John Schneider does for this lineup and his team other than put out the lineup card. And even sometimes with that, a lot of people and a lot of reports have said that it's not just John Schneider making these reports. Again, you're an MLB talent player. You probably have your own guy. You have your own hitting coach. You have your own guy that you go to for tweaks, fixes in your game. Again, the coaches can help out and they can point out what they see. But is John Schneider necessarily doing that? No, I would think that'd be a guy like Hunter Mentz, somebody, maybe Matt Haig, somebody in that dugout that they're always seemingly to be talking to. But yeah, look at John Schneider. He's done okay. Again, you look at like his record, I guess from that standpoint, you can be happy with it. You look at this season, can't really fault him too much. But then you go back throughout his history, and you touched on that part about him learning from his mistakes. You kind of look what he did with Kevin Gausman in that situation. Again, that one's a little bit more debatable, but for my opinion, for a lot of Toronto Blue Jays fans, you don't think we should pull Kevin Gausman in 2022. You look what happens; they end up losing that game due to a lot of other factors, obviously, but not just the Kevin Gausman thing. Then he says, yeah, that was my mistake. Got to learn from that. And then you look at what he has with Jose Barrios. That one is pretty much unanimous by Toronto Blue Jays fans, saying that you should have kept Jose Barrios in. That was basically the best he looked the entire season. John Schneider takes him out. Again, you got to score more than one run over a 2-game playoff series. That's the overlying factor. But again, you look at this game, you say the Toronto Blue Jays score some runs, and you see what happens in the rest of this game. You can definitely fault John Schneider for that decision. Then you just look at is how he handles bullpen decisions, throwing in Tim Mayza at weird times, throwing in Zach Pop when he's not playing well. Obviously, the George Springer stuff that we went back to from this season. We even go back to 2023 with David Schneider on his Linsanity run. He's not playing this guy when he's winning as one of the best players on the planet. Some decisions that he has made just have not made sense. So you look at this team and you look if they're going to have success this season. Is John Schneider necessarily the guy you want at the helm making these decisions? Having maybe a little bit too much like bonding in the dugout, more like a brother and like a teammate bond rather than a coach bond. You still have to make these tough decisions. You can't get too personal because this is a business. You got to play your best players in their positions. You can't just rely on your relationships and how you feel about each other and the players on this team. You have to look at it for what is going to help this team win. And again, you can look at a bunch of different things that go into this. And John Schneider, he's not the only one making decisions. But I do question a little bit if John Schneider is the right guy for the job. But saying that, he's not going to get fired this season. I think his job is pretty safe. If anyone's going to go, it's Ross Atkins. And it seems like Mark Shapiro has already advocated for Ross Atkins that he's going to stay. Can't see John Schneider going anywhere. So hopefully he can figure it out and lead the Toronto Blue Jays to at least a successful season in 2025.
So, Carter, a couple things I want to get into here on John Schneider. All right. You brought up sort of before we started to hit record, a recording was, what's your favorite John Schneider quote? Plus, what's your favorite John Schneider moment? Let's start with your favorite John Schneider quote. I'm going to kick things off for this one. My favorite John Schneider quote of all time is, "It's still early," because we heard it 9,000 times. And where are we at here? Is it still early, John? I'm asking, like, to him. I want somebody to, like, I don't know, post this on his wall somewhere. Is it still early, John? Is my question to you. My favorite John Schneider quote, because I don't think I will ever stop hearing it ringing through my head when I'm trying to sleep at night.
For me, it's not necessarily the quote that is my favorite part. It's just the situation, who it was to. It was when he called Aaron Boone "fat boy" in that game when he played him, because I hate the Yankees. Any slander towards the Yankees is funny to me, and how mad Aaron Boone got because of that was hilarious as well. Again, John Schneider's probably a bigger guy than Aaron Boone. That's why I think what makes it even funnier that he used that term. That's probably my favorite John Schneider quote. But John Schneider moment, my favorite one. Unfortunately for him, it's not a good one. I do have probably an honorable mention that I will throw in there. But this one is when he went out to do mound visits with Alek Manoah 2 times in the same inning. Obviously, when you do a mound visit twice in the same inning, you have to pull the pitcher on the mound. John Schneider just, I guess, has a brain fart. Completely forgets about it. Alek Manoah has some not so nice things to say about John Schneider. Something idiot. I'll let you fill in the blank there. But yeah, that was funny. Just obviously not a great situation because Alek Manoah was kind of dealing in that game. But just that's one John Schneider moment that you almost want to bang your head on the wall and just ask yourself, what is this guy doing?
Yeah, that was a bad one. When I said mine originally, and I sort of knew where you were gonna go with yours. Mine was the Jose Barrios poll. It's just one of the most bonehead decisions of all time, and I know that there was probably other people in his ear. He was, still early at that point into his managerial career. Thought that he had to go along with the plan, but what an absolute backfire! People still bring that moment up till this day, and probably will forever bring that moment up in regards to John Schneider. You said you had an honorable mention. What was that one?
Yeah, it was his 0-3 at bat against the Los Angeles Angels. No, what it actually was when I think it was Danny Johnson or Alejandro Kirk. I can't remember which one was catching, but they weren't ready. So John Schneider just went back in his element and started catching some pitches for, I think it was Jose Barrios. So I thought that was a good moment from John Schneider there. But overall, yeah, John Schneider's not going anywhere. That's kind of where I'm at. He'll be with this team for the rest of the season, obviously, and then with the team for the start of 2025. John Schneider, there's bigger fish to fry on this team. So if John Schneider doesn't get moved or is not fired, not again promoted, whatever, obviously won't be promoted. But with John Schneider, he's going to be here. So just address the actual team. Again, John Schneider has no say in what team he has. He just kind of plays the players that he's dealt with. So I'm not going to press John Schneider too much. But this next year is definitely going to confirm for me, which I'm already sort of thinking that John Schneider is not necessarily the guy that I want to be making decisions in big moments. But hey, maybe he does prove me wrong. Maybe he does learn from his mistakes. He is gaining experience as we do go through the rest of this season here. So I guess I got to be more on the positive side of this because, again, there's no point of hanging on a guy when you can't do anything about it. And he's going to be here for almost the entirety of next season. So let's just have a positive outlook on John Schneider, what he can do for this Toronto Blue Jays baseball team.
Yeah, and that's sort of where I'm at. I want to end this by saying sincerely, congratulations on the 200 wins. It is a big accomplishment for any manager. You get put in the position. He worked his way up, and he really did put in the work. So congratulations to John Schneider. What is your guys' take on John Schneider? We want to hear it because, well, I think we know where this is going to go, but we want to hear it anyway. Drop us a comment. Leave us sort of what you guys are thinking. If you're listening somewhere else, shoot me something on Twitter. Put a post out. Maybe I'll put a poll out. How do you feel about John Schneider? You guys can let me know on Twitter as well. Again, Braden 5 Iwasco, Carter First 2, if you want to follow us there. Carter, anything else?
Always, I just want to end with this before we do move on to our next segment. You do always say that John Schneider is your second favorite Schneider on the Toronto Blue Jays. So credit to him. There's a little clap for John Schneider being your top two Schneiders on the Toronto Blue Jays.
Congratulations. Hey, you know what? Not everybody can say they're Brady Wasco's top two or their second favorite Schneider on the Toronto Blue Jays. So there you go. Congratulations to him. We're going to take a quick break. Carter's got a Bo Bichette update to give you. We want to get into that, sort of dive in. What do we do with Bo Bichette sort of moving forward this season? Well, Carter will sort of let us know, and we'll have that discussion when we return. Today's episode brought to you by Liquid IV. As you guys know, I'm a huge fan of Liquid IV. When you're taking in America's pastime, don't forget to hydrate with Liquid IV's popsicle firecrack flavor, a summertime hit. As you guys know, I told this story yesterday. If you're listening to yesterday's episode on the ads, Dallin Wilton the bald eagle goes up to Carter first, and Carter goes, "Oh, you're probably not gonna be feeling too hot in the morning." And Dal goes, "No, I've got a cure. I got a cure for everything. I know how to get back to it." I'm like, Carter goes, "Oh, okay. What is it?" He goes, "Liquid IV, of course." Dal rides with the boys. He uses Liquid IV. He knows how to fix everything. I said I was out playing baseball on Saturday, dead from the heat, and I just poured one of those Liquid IVs right into my water, and I was backfiring, good to go. It's so easy. You just rip it open, dump it in the water, and you are ready to rock. Powered by Live HydroSense, an optimized ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients that turn ordinary water into extraordinary hydration. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code MLB at liquidiv.com. So, Carter, I'm going to send things right off to you. Again, if you're still listening, make sure if you guys are coming down to Minnesota to watch the Twins and the Blue Jays, make sure you come say hi to me if you do see me out and about at the stadium. I'll be around. I'll be doing stuff. I might be in line to grab food because the food at the Twins stadium, for those of you who have not been there yet, it is so good. It's one of my favorite ballparks to be at. I mean, Toronto's just unbeatable, but for like their food and their drinks and everything. But Minnesota is a very nice park, very fun park as well. So I'm pretty pumped to be there. If you guys are there as well, come say hi. Carter.
You heard it here first. Braden is doing the 999 challenge at Target Field. He is fired up to announce it on this podcast. Braden, it's very brave of you to start doing that for the boys here, providing us some entertainment when the Toronto Blue Jays sometimes fail to do so.
I'm saving that for the next time that we go to the Toronto, back to Toronto. Maybe me, you, Justin, and Jar will have to do the 999 challenge because I don't know if I can do it by myself. I think we'll need I'll need to look over and see you struggling to keep me moving. But in saying all that, and kidding around, we want to get to this Bo Bichette update. Carter, what do you got for us with Bo Bichette?
Okay, so this is from Tuesday. Bo Bichette slowly making his way to be back with the Toronto Blue Jays. So this is from Ben Nicholson-Smith, a guy that we do reference quite a bit on this podcast. So he says that Bo Bichette took ground balls at Fenway Park today. He said he's feeling better and working hard to return the season. A couple weeks back would be huge if possible, but no one wants to rush this either. We'll work with the Jays on the road trip, and a rehab stint is likely. So obviously that means that he will be going down to AAA Buffalo before he does go with the Toronto Blue Jays. And as I referenced before, the day you guys are seeing this, there's only 26 games left in the Toronto Blue Jays season. So you're running out of time. You're running out of time to make your debut with the Toronto Blue Jays. Rehab stints usually are at least a couple days, probably about a week long. So you're going to expect Bo Bichette to probably have 3 games of a rehab stint and then be back to the Toronto Blue Jays. That at earliest gives him probably 20 games to play with the Jays, and that's at best. So you look at Bo Bichette and you look at what you want to do with them in this offseason. It's a little bit of a interesting outcome because you haven't played 20 games. If he doesn't play that good, maybe that lowers his trade value a little bit. But you look at Bo Bichette's career, I think a lot of teams will definitely take the chance that Bo Bichette is going to be an effective MLB player next season. Or you let him play the 20 games and he kind of just does what he normally does and hits 290 with that opposite field power and maybe raises the trade stock a little bit. So I guess I'll throw it back to you here. I do have a few more things for Bo Bichette, but just your initial reactions on Bo Bichette and just his working his way to the Toronto Blue Jays team.
Carter, honest to God, maybe him having a rehab stint in AAA, maybe it's a good thing for him. Maybe he can find that swing, redial in before rejoining the team. And I think you're right when you talk about the trade stock and Bo Bichette's trade value, if that's the road that they want to go down. I think him spending a little bit of time in AAA is not the worst thing in the world for him. I think you got, like we just talked about with David Schneider, it's regaining confidence. And I think that's going to be so huge for Bo Bichette, getting back into a better headspace and coming back to finish the season. He knows that if he has to sign with another team, his contract will be on the line at the end of next season, and he'll be looking to make the big bucks. So he's got to start playing well if he wants to make that big contract that I'm assuming he's wanting. So a lot of interesting stuff around Bo Bichette, and there will continue to be sort of throughout this offseason as well.
Yeah, it's there's a lot. Bo Bichette's gonna be the story of the offseason. That's 100% chance guarantee, Locked On Blue Jays guarantee from the yours truly, Carter First. Bo Bichette is a superstar in this league, or at least was over the last 3 seasons. Definitely not a debate. So with all the obviously the articles and the analysts commenting about Bo Bichette's and the rumors and all this kind of stuff about him being traded, it's gonna be a story to follow this offseason. Again, for me, we've already said this multiple times on the podcast. If you want to compete in 2025, probably going to be better off with Bo Bichette. But if you end up trading him, that gives us a ton to talk about. Maybe it's not the worst idea to give him a change of scenery, and we get new players, kind of like the shiny new toy at the toy store for us with the Toronto Blue Jays team. But continuing on with Bo Bichette, He goes into saying, I think how the season went and it hurting his calf multiple times. Obviously, I wasn't mindful enough at that point, even though I really tried to be. So just being as smart as I can be. But I'm happy with where it's at now. It's just talking about his calf. Obviously, he has re-aggravated it multiple times this season. So again, goes on. I was trying to look yourself in the mirror and see what could have gone better. And there's definitely things I could have done better. Obviously, the performance shows when that was taken from away from me. That was a bit difficult at first, but I moved on pretty quickly. So again, it's just him kind of talking about his injury, things that he could have did better. Again, Bo Bichette with his performance this season, it kind of alludes to it as well. He's obviously not happy about it. He knows that he has to be a better contributing piece for the Toronto Blue Jays team, especially when he talks about his contract and wanting that contract extension. When you're hitting 230 with no PS around 600, you're definitely not going to be worth that 20, 25, maybe even $30 million per year contract that he is most likely wanting. But Braden, do you think there's a little bit of a Bo Bichette mismanagement with this injury? Do you think it's just kind of unlucky? And how do you feel about his comments just about his performance this season?
No, I think his comments are fair. To be honest with you, I think it is a mismanagement of the injury. I think anytime you have to re-aggravate something, most of the time it's because you didn't completely let it heal and you tried to rush back. They were at the point when Bo Bichette first got injured that they wanted to compete this season and they needed Bo Bichette to do that. And I fully believe that. And so they tried to get him back as fast as they can, and then he got injured and went down, and he's missed a significant amount of time, and that sort of bit back a little bit. So I feel bad that Bo Bichette sort of had to go through this season. It probably didn't help his performance on the field when you have a lingering injury. Do I think that that's the only reason he's not having a good season? No, I think that there's other factors. You can still hit well, you can still play well with a little bit of an injury. But obviously, it was there doing something, contributing to the not so great season that Bo Bichette has had.
Yeah, and the last thing he pretty much says is that before this last rendition of this injury, he felt good. He felt confident about getting the season back on track, and he was looking forward to getting his playing time with the Toronto Blue Jays. Obviously, that did get cut short. So I guess for him, he was feeling optimistic about coming back and playing for the Jays, but unfortunately, did not get the chance to do that. But looking at Bo Bichette, for me at this point with the injury stuff, doesn't really matter for me how good he's feeling. I think you just got to wrap this season up. I'm going to have that same take with Jordan Romano when we probably hear about him in the next coming week or so. With these two players, these guys have shown to you for multiple seasons that they are effective players, just having down years. I think you no point of rushing them back to MLB games. Let them just kind of start an early off season here. I'll take it easy. Don't re-aggravate any injuries, especially when you're looking at Bo Bichette with all the trade rumors. Not exactly sure which direction the Toronto Blue Jays want to take. They have said that they do not want to trade Bo Bichette, obviously, at this trade deadline, but this offseason is a different animal. You're looking at the standpoint of Bo Bichette with him having over a year left of his contract compared to this season, it being the last year of his contract. So they're going to be fielding calls for Bo Bichette. They're definitely going to have opportunities to get rid of him. It's going to be weird to see if they do move on from him or whether they bite the bullet, not even biting the bullet, or just hold on to Bo Bichette and maybe even get a contract extension done. I think biting the bullet would be if you don't do anything with Bo Bichette and you don't get an extension or trade him at the trade deadline and just kind of riding out with them. So the last thing I want to say with Bo Bichette, and another reason that I want him to be in AAA or just not play at all, is that Will Wagner, Joey Lopervito, David Schneider, guys like this, Ernie Clement, you give these guys more opportunity to play for this 2025 season. Give them the opportunity to fight for a roster spot. It's going to help these players a lot more gain MLB experience and just know what it's like to be in the big leagues and face big leagues pitching than it is to have Bo Bichette in the MLB for the last 15 to 20 games of the season, try to get his footing back under him, then have an off season of 5-6 months and then go back into the spring training and try to revamp what he was working on like right now. If you guys come back, this doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I think you got to ride out your rookies, let them have their experience and enjoy their little time in the show and maybe earn a spot for the next upcoming season.
Yeah, I 100% agree, Carter. I think me and you and most of the fans sort of share the same takes. Let us know what you guys think about this as well. Do you think Bo Bichette should come back this season, or do you think he should just call or sort of quits for this year and yeah, try to work things out in this off season? Carter, just before we sort of get into the series preview here, I wanted to mention make sure you guys go check out Locked On MLB with host Paul Sullivan. Sully, he has all the big stories in the MLB covered. And, he's pumped to talk about him. He sort of has fun on his show and he has a blast. So make us your first listen, but make Locked On MLB your second listen. That's the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Carter, we got a series to preview. We got a little bit to go over here, and then we'll sort of send you guys off for the weekend on a quick, sort of a nice little easy Friday episode. Nothing too pressing. No craziness going on in Blue Jays land. Just a couple nice segments. So it's been a fun Friday so far. Take a quick break. Be right back with even more.
Today's episode is also sponsored by Prize Picks. So up to this point, I've watched pretty much every single Toronto Blue Jays game. And when I watch the games with my friends, we always find ourselves predicting the next outcome in these at-bats, whether it's a strikeout, a home run, or a hit. We always find ourselves making these little wagers. But Prize Picks gives me the opportunity not just to prove myself to my friends, but also to make some money off my picks. So don't miss your chance to add your favorite players from the diamond into your Prize Picks entries today. Whether it is strikeouts, hits, RBIs, or first inning runs, take your pick of more than or less than, add them to your Prize Picks entries today. Prize Picks is very simple to play. I can make my picks and submit my entry in as little as 60 seconds. You know which players are going to perform on specific nights. This is a no-brainer. Download Prize Picks and start making your picks today. It's pretty much free money if you can pick these guys at accurate times. So download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for first deposit matchup to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB for first deposit matchup to $100. Prize Picks. Run your game. Congrats to Braden Owasco, yeah, just for actually getting that one right. I know you were pretty fired up about that win for you there, so that's why I figured to cut you off. But so for this series, Braden will be able to grace the Toronto Blue Jays with his presence over there at Target Field. Going to be pretty exciting. You got some decent matchups there. I guess I'll give you the honors of presenting them to people.
Yeah, so I'm pumped. So right now I'm 1-2 at Blue Jays games this season. So hopefully I can get my record over 500. Hopefully, I'll either be over or I'll be under. So there's no ties in baseball. So we'll see what happens. I'll keep you guys updated on that. Friday, I'm there. I'm there Friday and Saturday. Sadly, not there for the Sunday game as I got to come back for work on Sunday. So I will be doing that, making it a little bit of a quick trip, heading out there. I guess Thursday. So yesterday, we sort of did a little bit of a pre-record on this episode just so that, I wasn't having to lug some recording equipment along with me. I was debating it. If the Blue Jays run a big winning streak or something, they continued with the 6-game win streak, I would have definitely brought everything with me. But I'll keep you guys updated on the TikTok and everything else. You can probably see one later tonight if you're watching this first thing in the morning. So I'll have something up for you guys from the stadium, hopefully, or from the ballpark. I get to see Kevin Gausman pitch against Lopez. It should be a pretty good matchup. Kevin Gausman's got a 4.1 ERA on the season. Lopez with a 4.26. And their win-loss, if you do care about it, I don't. But Kevin Gausman's got 12-9. Lopez is 12-8. So it should be a decent enough matchup. Hopefully the Jays can bring the bats, reignite the flame there. Saturday, Jose Barrios versus Matthews. Jose Barrios 12-9 as well in the season with a 3.79 ERA. Matthews 1-1 with a 3 ERA. And then for the Sunday game, Y-Rod back on the mound. Yariel Rodriguez 1-5 on the season, 4.4 ERA versus Ober with a 12-5 win-loss and a 3.54 ERA. Should be an interesting series. I think this is a big one. If the Jays can take some wins away from the Minnesota Twins, I mean, again, if the Jays are out of the playoffs, Carter, for me, I mean, I don't necessarily know who I'm cheering for. I'm probably not really cheering for anybody. I think with Minnesota being sort of close to us, I might go them, but I haven't really made up my mind yet, to be honest, about who I'd pull for in the playoffs. Maybe we'll do one of those. Maybe we'll get all like the guys who have been on Locked On, and we'll do a little bit of a playoff, what is it called? Like playoff fantasy, playoff bracket sort of thing.
Yeah, we could do like a random draw for who gets what team. Maybe everyone picks an AL and an NL team, see what happens for that. Usually what I do for the playoffs, if the Toronto Blue Jays aren't there, is I usually just pick an NL team, just a random team that maybe there's some players this season that I liked watching. This season for me, it might actually be the Milwaukee Brewers. The Philadelphia Phillies are always a fun team to watch too, but I'm not necessarily going to hop on that bandwagon. There's a bunch of teams. I just wish upon the downfall of AL East teams. Other than that, I just don't necessarily want the Astros to win. Other than that, the AL, I mean, whatever. If the Guardians end up taking it, I'm not going to bat an eye at that stat line. But Braden, I got a couple questions for you. I literally only have two. First one is home run. You want to see a Toronto Blue Jays home run in the flesh? Who do you want that to be launching into the Minneapolis seats?
You know who it is. There's one guy. There's one home run that I want to see, and that's Davis, the Babe Schneider. I need one injected into me right now. I think, since I'm there, Davis should do something for me and hit a big time nuke in the game. Start his reinvigorating run back with the Toronto Blue Jays here heading into the last few games of the year. I think that would be a perfect fitting moment for me being driving all the way up to Minnesota.
See, you might have to do something for that to happen as well. Like I know you're going to the game, but maybe if he does come through for your wish here, you might have to like maybe write him a poem or something like that. You can write him, I don't know, maybe send him a letter, be like, "Hey, David Schneider, I love you for making me feel happy about the Toronto Blue Jays." I don't know what it necessarily has to be. Maybe leave some comments on that as well. Maybe we'll snap it around in our group chats that we do have, figure out something for you there. But hopefully, David Schneider can figure it out. Again, we've been a little bit hard on him, but we still want him to be a productive player. We want every single player on the Toronto Blue Jays to hit 1,000,000 for eternity, because that'd be way more fun to watch than the team that we're watching right now. But the last question is just obviously you want to see that David Schneider home run. Two more things that you just want to see, whether it's just good baseball game, good weather. Maybe you want to see a hot woman on the side of the road. Maybe you want to see a puppy. I don't know what you want to see. Just two things you want to see from your weekend.
Yeah, personally, the weather's a big one. I'm not going to put that there because I'm going to watch baseball either way. So the weather really has no impact on me. It's just, am I going to wear pants or am I going to throw on the shorts? That's pretty much what that'll determine for me. It's going to be what hopefully that we get a good offensive performance from the Blue Jays. The pitching, I don't overly care. I just want to see a lot of hits. I want to see a lot of hits. I want to see some home runs. I just want to see an entertaining baseball game when I'm down there. So that's number one is just the offense getting going. Number two, I think, is just to see and in person, sort of in the flesh, watching the boys have a good time out there. The season's over. They're not making the playoffs. I just want to see some of these young guys having a good time. I don't know, maybe Ernie Clement does something crazy and hits a home run or, something like that, or a game-winning home run or something, just get me fired up. I just want to see the guys having a good time out there as well. We've been covering this team sort of all year, and to get to go down and watch them in person, it's going to be an absolute blast. And I get to go down with the family, so it's a nice little trip that we're taking. A couple people from work are going to be there. A couple buddies from that don't live here anymore are going to go down. So it's going to be just a really fun time. Hopefully, and I'm chilling out. I'm not drinking this week. Well, I might have a couple. I'm not going crazy. It's not going to be late nights. It's going to be like a nice little break weekend away from work, away from just getting out of the city. It's just going to be a really good time. Hopefully, do some shopping. I got to get some. I don't know. They got that Albertsville sort of thing where they got like outlet malls, and then of course Mall of America. So I'll hit up both those. And I don't know. I just want to have a good time and relax. I think that's the key. Have a good time, relax. Doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's going to be your last time at the Toronto Blue Jays game in 2024. So hopefully they can make it count for you. But other than that, yeah, it's that's pretty much all I got for this weekend series. Pretty excited for it. Obviously, it's a good time when they play the Minnesota Twins, so they can win a series. So obviously, wanting the Toronto Blue Jays to play good baseball. But other than that, it's more of the same for me, unfortunately. I wish I could give you more interesting stuff about the Toronto Blue Jays, but maybe I would have been fully in on the playoffs if they had a better series against the Boston Red Sox in the back half of that series. But I want to see a Madison Barger bomb. I just want to see maybe 470 into the right bleachers. That'd be awesome to see. And then maybe just Alejandro Kirk. I want to see this guy continue to succeed. I think that he's going to be a big part of 2025. This guy's going to have to be productive from the catcher position if we want to see some offense at all from the bottom of this lineup. I think he's going to be a good guy that's going to hit probably 6, 7, or 8 in the Toronto Blue Jays lineup in 2025. Obviously, a lot of time between now and 2025. A lot of players can be cut. A lot of players can be traded. Injury could happen. You never know what the Toronto Blue Jays starting lineup is going to look like. But for a guy like Alejandro Kirk, guys like Dalton Varsho, the guys are going to be on the team for 2025, you definitely want to see them perform and maybe catch a little bit of fire as we go through the rest of the season. But just hopefully you enjoy some ballpark dogs, maybe the odd ballpark beer, and then some ballpark home runs. Those obviously do hit hard when you are in the flesh.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. It's gonna be a fun weekend, and then you know what? We're right back at it. Weirdly enough, I think our hockey season starts like next week for some reason. BCHL commissioner, what are we doing? Why are we starting hockey when it's still absolutely beautiful outside and all I want to be is on the golf course right now? Great question, but it'll be a lot of fun anyway. We're going to get the guys back together, the hockey team back together, and yeah, start playing. I'm not in great enough shape to start playing hockey next week, so I'll have to get back to the gym or something, Carter. I don't know. I say that, but I'm going to be eating ballpark dogs and ballpark beers all weekend, so that won't help me either.
Well, I thought you'd be fine. You've been training for the freeze all week and all last week, so you've been getting the running going. You've been cutting out some things a little bit lighter on the beers recently. A lot of salads been being ingested, so I think you've been slowly just maybe under the radar training for the freeze event. Maybe you'll see Braden on TV for the Saturday game against the Minnesota Twins after he does slam one of those ballpark dogs that he has been eyeing. But I do want to say thank you guys for watching, likes, comments, debates. Again, not as much to debate about now. I wish we could be debating about what place the Toronto Blue Jays are going to be finishing in the wild card standings. But here we are debating about which pick the Toronto Blue Jays might get going into next season. A little bit unfortunate part of the spectrum, but we do appreciate you guys taking along for the ride. But yeah, other than that, I don't have a plan for this weekend. It's usually my plan almost every weekend, though. I usually got one day, and then the road takes me wherever I'm going to end up. So obviously for me, watching Toronto Blue Jays baseball, I'll probably be golfing a little bit this weekend too. School starting up soon. So yeah, it's not too much. Not the worst idea to take a weekend off from the adventures in summer that we've had. But as always, thank you guys for watching. And Brayden, I guess I'll throw back to you if you've got anything else to say before we'll be tuning in from Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Yeah, only one more thing. Only one more thing. Again, if you guys see me out there, come down, say hi. We'll talk some Blue Jays baseball, whatever you want to do. You want to tell me my ideas are dumb or my opinions are dumb, you can do that too. I don't really care. But also make sure you guys check out Locked On MLB with host Paul Sullivan, Sully, our guy. Make sure we're your first listen every day. But then if you want a second listen, go listen to some MLB big storylines with Sully there. So again, take it easy, guys. Have a great weekend, and we'll be back next week.